Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 of me going through Hearthstone Perils in Paradise version to just be enjoyed audibly or completely on YouTube, where I'll be reviewing the new Hearthstone expansion completely for you to just listen to while you're on the walk. And I'll keep it in small doses, so something to listen to every day while you may be on the bus to work. And we'll jump right back into where we left last time. Last time we stopped our review with Buttons, which was the tourist for the Death Knight class, which was a 5 mana 5/5. The cards that we saw, the tourists were really interesting, Mario was really interesting, and of course the Magma. And then today, the first card we're going to have is a new location, which is Hiking Trail. It's a 3 mana 3/3 Druid location that discovers a taunt minion. And it comes with a special mechanic compared to all the previous locations. After you gain armor, you may reopen this. So if you remember, usually locations, you will use them and then you cannot use them again until 2 turns from now. So you can't use it again this turn and you can't use it again next turn. But this Hiking Trail, whenever you gain armor, you maybe reopen this and you can discover another taunt minion. So, for example, in Druid, specifically, this opens every time you hero power. This opens every time you play Blossom, which is the 3 mana 1 card, a spell that gains you 1 card and 5 armor. If you wait 3 turns, it gives you 2 cards and 10 armor, which is a really powerful card and gets included in a lot of Druid decks. So, that is one of the cards that, or for example, if you would be playing Reno gains you armor, you would be able to reopen this. So the question is, of course, are there any good taunt minions? And 3 mana, 3 charges, like if this would just not have to wait, this would just be like 3 mana, discover 3 taunt cards. And especially in stuff like Dragon Druid, this would be amazing. Because there is multiple dragons that you might want to have. There's a 4 mana, 3/4 dragon that restores 4 mana crystals, so is effectively free at 4 mana, which has taunt, as long as you have another dragon in hand. And then there's a 7 mana, 3/4 taunt dragon that battle cry spawns for every other dragon in your hand. It spawns a copy, so you can make a huge dragon wall. So if you would be able to activate this 3 times immediately, you could play it on turn 3, activate it 3 times, and probably drop 3 0 mana 3/4 dragon taunts onto the board next turn. Of course, there's a lot of like rubbish, especially neutral taunt minions, but especially the dragon taunts are really insane. And then the last but not least, really good dragon taunt that immediately comes to mind for me is the 9 mana 4/12 Phi legendary dragon that becomes cheaper for every dragon you've summoned this game. So I think this card is really cool, and especially with the idea of being able to reopen it if you play it in like a hero power package or something like this, and you're able to get the value of this Hiking Trail more often, more quickly, and effectively get 3 cards for 3 mana really quickly. This should be a nice card. I quite like this. Then we have 6 mana, 6/4, and this is a pirate. There will be a lot of pirates in this expansion. Weapons Attendant is what the card is called. And the battle cry is, if you control another pirate, equip a random weapon from your deck. So if you have some really expensive like weapons like Frostmourne, you could get them from your deck immediately, but you would have another pirate in play. And then you kind of get a free body. I don't currently see where this is good, but we'll have to wait a little bit on what kind of weapons will be revealed, and we'll have a little bit of a look through it at the end of the expansion. But for now, I think we'll skip it so we can focus a little bit more on other cards. Like, for example, the 2 mana 2/2 pirate, which is Battlecry, discover location from any class. So this could also be your own, of course. And I think this card is really interesting because it fills somewhat of a similar slot than Sketchy Stranger used to do in a sort of Burgle Rogue. And if you think about Sketchy Stranger, it was a 2 mana 2/2 card that discovered a secret from another class, and then you can play that secret, but the secret pool is kind of low, so people kind of know what you have. But it has the upside that they're kind of cheap, right? So a 2-mana 2/2 card is usually a loss of tempo, so you want something cheap. And the upside of that was you could always use preparation to get spells to be cheaper, and that was one of the main ways you could get this tempo BAP. For the travel agent itself, there's no way to cheat out locations or make them any cheaper, currently that is. But what I really like about this card and how I think this could find inclusion into many decks is this has potentially incredible value. Locations are usually very good cards, like the one that we just saw, the Druid location. They give you a lot of resources, and the one that I can think of that gives you the most resources is a recently introduced Priest location, which is a 4-mana location with 2 charges, which gives you, every time you use the location, a 1/1 copy of an enemy minion, which means it could be Excavate rewards like the Scorpion. It can be a 1-mana Titan, like a 1-mana Eonar, of course, is amazing, and giving you just incredible value, giving like a 1-mana Tess or like a 1-mana Boombass if you want to, blow up your opponent's deck and you're sick of Brand Warriors. So these are really cool cards, and especially in Rogue, the location will come back, and then if you get the Priest location, you will also get the minion back if you ever play Task. So this has potential to be like super huge value, and there have been some really broken locations in the past. I think of the Nightcloak Sanctum, for example, and the Priest and the Mage locations, which we used to have, that had 3 charges. Those are really amazing, and you would definitely want to have them in a lot of classes. And since it's Discover, you have often a lot of flexibility in terms of like tempo or value. And we'll have to see, of course, what other locations come out. But I think this is a promising card. I really like how well this could do in some sort of Burgle Rogue. But I also wouldn't be surprised if this card saw play in Reno decks, because Reno decks sometimes want a little bit more value, they want a little bit more cheese, they focus a little bit more on the late game, and I see this card could be played there as well. So I really like this card. Travel Agent. And then the last card we'll have a look at today is the Volleymall, which is a 3-mana 3/2 Paladin weapon. So it's a common card, it's a 3-mana 3/2 weapon, which says after your hero attacks, get a 1-cost Sunscreen that gives +1/+2. And Sunscreen is just a 1-mana spell that gives a minion +1/+2. That's all there is to it. Personally, not the biggest fan. The Sunscreen also does not have any spell school, so there's some things that have so holy like spell synergy, and that doesn't really work. And I don't really see you spending a mana to give a minion +1/+2 these days. The only upside this really has for me is it fills your hand, and filling your hand is good with cards like Living Horizon, which is a 10-mana 4/6 Taunt Divine Shield minion that costs 1 less for every other card in your hand. But I assume there should be better ways of filling your hand than the Volleymall, than just having like a really bad Fiery War Axe. Because if I compare it with a lot of other weapons, it's kind of just not it. The Paladin hand buff weapon, which is a 4-mana 2/3 weapon with lifesteal that every time it attacks gives you whole hand +1/+1, is like one that you'd rather want to play. I don't even think this goes in like in a Highlander deck, just simply because the other weapons are too good. They have too many charges, and this often gets stuck in your hand. Also, it's not a minion, so it doesn't get buffed from any hand buff synergy that Paladin is usually running. So I think this one, so far, not so good. Actually, since this one's short, we can probably do one more. We have 4-mana 3/3 Shaman card now. Cabaret Headliner, Battlecry, reduce the cost of a spell of each school in your hand by 2. So that's a lot of reduction. This could be a lot of burst with some sort of like spell school shaman. I wouldn't be surprised if this saw play. I think this is a really interesting card. There's a lot of different spell schools, especially like, for example, the fire that we just saw got added in our last review. And this could be a really cool card. So, in summary for today, 4 mana 3/3 Naga Shaman card, really cool for spell schools. Then we had the 2 mana 2/2 Travel Agent, which discovers a location from any class. I think really good for high value decks and for Burgle Rogue potentially. And then we have the Drink Server. We have the Hiking Trail, which discovers a taunt minion. And after you gain armor, this reopens. I think these are 3 really cool cards that are in this review. And I hope to see you guys again tomorrow.